Right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, as things are heating up in the race to make the college football playoff, we've got one more week in the regular season as well as the conference championship games. Most of the mainstream media that covers the great sport of college football continues to treat the non-power conferences like Cinderella who didn't even get invited to the ball. I've had the privilege, if you want to call it that, okay, to listen to some of these talking heads on television recently talk about why the group of five should not even be included in the playoff picture, which to me is absurd. Let's be realistic, okay? The deck is always going to be stacked against the group of five to begin with. Just look at how quickly that the seeding format for this 12-team college football playoff changed. As in its first year last year, Boise State won the Mountain West and received a first round bye. And the power brokers are like, whoa, 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 we can't deal with that. Okay. And barring something unforeseen going forward, whomever represents the group of five is always going to be given the lowest seed in the playoff. Okay. But I'm here to tell you that I firmly believe that the group of five representative deserves to be included in the playoff. Now, you go back to the previous 14 playoff format, okay? Everything was cool and hunky dory until Cincinnati, then of the American, made the playoff and upset the apple cart in the process. And need I remind you, that 14 format for the playoff, as well as this 12-team format, was agreed upon by all parties, even though, of course, that the Big Ten and the SEC continue to flex their muscles on it. And if the college football playoff is the equivalent to the NCAA tournament in March, what has helped the NCAA tournament become the juggernaut that it is are those first and second round upsets. However, like I said before, when you look at this group of five, unfortunately for them, the deck is always going to be stacked against them. And of course, in their case, much more so than it is for the mid majors in college basketball. But you look at it because a lot is still up in the air for the group of five as far as making the playoff. You look at North Texas, Navy. You also look at Tulane. All of them have shots to win the American Conference. All right. Then you look at the Mountain West, and you've got a San Diego State team that is looking pretty formidable if they win the Mountain West. And then how about a James Madison out of the Sun Belt? They're 10-1 so far this season, but again, they should be in that mix and they should be respected. It's one of those for me. I just feel that there is so much disrespect uh, that is thrust upon the group of five. And then the problem is like, since the deck is already stacked against them, and if they lose their game, the power brokers or some of the critics or their naysayers are just going to sit back and say, well, I told you so. Well, guess what? I've not been a proponent of the expanded college football playoff, and I'm not a proponent of expanding the format even more because I always feel every year there's probably about like four or five teams that you could like really sift through and say, hey, you know what? That team has a legit chance to make the play to win it all. And if you look at last year's first round of the playoff, a lot of blowouts, okay? And some of those teams who got blowout losses were power conference schools. Even going back to the 14 format for the college football playoff, more often than not, those semifinal games were blowouts, okay? So my thing is, you're just trying to make this the exclusive province of the power conferences, which is basically always going to be the exclusive province of the Big Ten and SEC. Now, getting back to this 12-team format and wanting to exclude the group of five, it's one of those. Listen, they're upset because Notre Dame is probably going to take a spot away from a power conference team. Again, everything was agreed upon as far as including, the Fighting Irish into this. The same thing with the group of five. So I don't see what the problem is. The bottom line is you have to get better. Now, All schedules are not created equal, especially now in these expanded conferences: an 18-team Big Ten, 16-team SEC, 17-team ACC, 16-team Big 12. Everybody's not going to play each other. And you see it in the results of the schedule. So, I mean, granted, all schedules are not created equal. I totally get it. But it's one of those because sometimes you don't have to face the heavyweights in your league. Sometimes you do. Those things have to be factored in. I get it. But you shouldn't get rewarded for losing, regardless of who you play. The bottom line is you still got to go out there and win. And it's just so unfortunate and so disrespectful because, I mean, the group of five is disrespected in more ways than one. Usually, when their team has success, the coach leaves. All right. And now, in this era of the transfer portal and the NIL, usually when the team has success, the players leave as well. So every year, those guys are starting over, trying to rebuild their program, trying to keep up, if you will. And I just think it's total hogwash to try to eliminate basically half of the FBS schools from this college football playoff format. It was agreed to. Okay, this is the format that we have. Stick to it. Okay, stop trying to tinker with the sauce. It makes things better. Okay, whoever wins, whoever represents the group of five this season deserves it. Right now, it looks like Tulane has the inside track for the moment, but I guarantee you a lot's going to change between now and the next couple of weeks. Of course, one more week in the regular season, as well as the conference championship games. But nonetheless, we got to stop disrespecting the group of five. These guys belong at the table. Okay, this college football playoff cannot just be the exclusive province of the Big Ten and the SEC, albeit they're always going to have the bulk of the teams. But nonetheless, you should not get rewarded for losing. You got to go out there and handle your business. And like I said before, the deck is stacked so much against a group of five because there is very little margin of error for those guys. Okay. If you don't win your league, forget about it. There's no at large bids that are going to be coming out of the group of five. Make no mistake about it. So you have to be flawless almost to go out there and get it done. But nonetheless, we have to be vigilant. And the group of five definitely deserves their spot at the table in the college football playoff. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it is greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it'll be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.